Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another transfer live stream. Got a good one tonight. There's a lot to talk about, but we are also joined by Neil. Neil, how are you doing, mate?
I'm all right, considering considering what's been happening in terms of before the season started. It feels like that we're turning a corner. It feels like we're turning a new page. It feels like certain things are moving in the right direction. Ryan Bertrand's not here. Brendan Rodgers is not here. I know you've got to celebrate the small victories, but we feel like we're turning in the right direction. This could have been horribly wrong. You look at the likes of Leeds, and they're still, to this day, still not got a manager, still don't know what they're doing. It could have gone a lot worse, and I'm glad we're in the position we are. And I'm feeling hope. I'm quite looking forward to the championship now.
Yeah, it's just that optimism which we haven't had in such a long time. Because as you say, like we've still got an incredibly like long summer, like before the season even starts. But it's those first steps in the right direction, that bit of positivity. Obviously, yesterday James Maddison was confirmed as a Spurs player, but also it looks like Harry Winks is a done deal to Leicester. Connor Cody's a done deal to Leicester. Zach Steffen and Joel Piroe being heavily linked. It's like feels like so much is going on, and I just feel like my fear was that a lot of this would drag out throughout the window. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case.
I'm with you, and it could have dragged on, and they could have. I think both sides, because as soon as I tweeted out from Beyond the 90, so many others, hurry up. Well, Matt, just hurry up and do it. Rip the plaster off, because they could have dragged it out and gone, oh, well, we're wanting 60 million, we're wanting this, we're wanting that. Let's just look. We need a fresh flush of the squad. And it's nothing against Maddison. I really like Maddison as a player, but his legacy was a bit tainted from this last season because of, especially towards the end of it. Just get him gone. Thank you for your service, but it's time to move on. We haven't got time for sentiment. We've just got to refresh. And the signs that are coming in, because we've talked about a spine before, the spine of that squad, just at the moment, with the players we're going to be linked to as well, is looking really strong.
It is 100%. But guys, we are quickly going to get into the comment section. If you haven't already subscribed to Beyond the 90, it should be the first link in the description. I'm sure most of you guys are already subscribed to Neil. Let's get up to 40 likes again. As I always say, that's the target for every stream. But I feel like this is going to be a bit of a longer stream and so much more to talk for. So we're going to go for 50 on this one. But Caleb, welcome into the stream. Danilo, Rene, how are you doing, mate? Bob, hurry up, and hey, I wasn't late tonight. There's been like many times over the last couple of weeks I've been late. Tonight was not one of them. But Bob, I hope you are well. Going down the pub. Enjoy, mate. Enjoy. Various intent. That's it. It just feels like last summer there felt like there was no intent and we're waiting for things to happen. And I said it at the time, we were standing still, expecting not to move backwards. But in football, you stand still, you get left behind. And I think we found that out last season now.
Exactly. And I was thinking this, it was piss poor from everybody involved. The players weren't good enough in terms of that team should have never got relegated. That team should have not been in that position. And that's with Harvey Barnes turning up with goals. That was James Maddison. If we didn't have both them, we'll probably get on to Harvey Barnes in a second. Mate, we would have been on 20 odd points. Genuinely would have been on half the amount of points we were ending the season. It would have been dire. But thank you for your services. It's time to move on. And now we're starting to rebuild this. And it started with the managerial appointment. Now we're starting to get linked to certain players as well, which I'm really looking forward to talking about. So, look, we're out with the new, no time for sentiment. Let's go to the next one. And as you're right, the intention is there. And it could have been a lot. Because imagine if we're in the Leeds position. I know I keep using them as a stickball, but they're not in a good position at all.
No, they don't have a manager. They obviously they've got new owners, which is obviously going to bring its own challenges, but they don't have a manager. They haven't brought in anyone yet. They've got players like Robin Koch and Rodrigo with awful release clauses. The one silver lining for us is at least our big players we can sell on for big fees. For Leeds, it's not looking good. But when is Cody and Winks and Stefan expected to be announced? I'm not sure if Stefan is a done deal yet, but with Cody and Winks, we were talking about this just before we came on air. I don't believe they're actually allowed to be announced until at least tomorrow because they're both on loan. Obviously, Cody with Everton and Winks with, I can't even remember where it is in Italy. Is it Sampdoria? Sampdoria, yeah. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're both tomorrow. Madders has gone to Spuds. What a mud. I think it's a match made in heaven, if I'm honest.
I think the three of them, so Rodgers, the only one that's really won, I say, is Soyuncu going to Atletico Madrid. In general, you're looking at the likes of Maddison. He was probably not thinking Tottenham was his first choice. Then you've got the likes of Dewey Tillemans, Aston Villa, Brendan Rodgers. A couple of years ago, we were thinking about, we gave him that stupid contract, and he was Newcastle were linked with him, Manchester United were linked with him, all these teams were linked with him, and he's gone back to Celtic. So it shows you. So it's not always this idea of it's greener, we're going away for what we're going to do. It is what it is. And we'll probably I don't know if you're going to touch on Johnny Evans as well.
Yeah, I was going to. 1 second. Guys, do get the likes up. As I keep saying, it helps out massively. But I think the place I want to start with is with Connor Cody. It looks like it's a done deal. 7.5 million rising to 8.5 million if we get promoted. It's a big fee for a championship club. Like, let's not sugarcoat it. But it's a signing I like, and it's a signing that I think is a bit of a no-nonsense statement of intent, and a signing that he brings not just only being a good defender, but he's an actual leader that we've lacked massively.
Yeah. And there's part of me that one goes, HMS piss the league, because it's just for banter. But I genuinely think he's a good leader. I think with Johnny Evans' situation, because I was really unsure why they would give him a new contract, I think Enzo has a lot to do with that as well. I don't know why. I got feeling that Enzo has said, look, listen, he's a leader, sure. And I think if Top had his way, he would have given him that contract for an extra year. But I think that Enzo's coming and going, look, he's been injured. This is the truth. Let's bring in this guy. He knows what he's doing. I've been a real big fan of him for a while. And he's the guy that's going to take us forward. I think the fact that he's Midlands based, from what I've read, is a massive factor where he's turned down other clubs. So what's more interesting for me is that it feels like he believes in the project. He believes we're going to go on to great things, but we're going to have a year kind of out of it. And I'm really looking forward to it. My only thing is, does he play in a back three? Because I've just known in a back two, he's pretty useless.
I wouldn't say he's useless, but he's not as good as he is in a back three. But my thing as well is saying about why he chose Leicester. There's reports we've offered him a longer contract than other clubs have, which at the age of his career, you've sort of like, it's understandable why would look for that, whilst also being Midlands based as well. But what I like about this is the fact that, like, yeah, he's not the most flash name in the world, but he comes in and he instantly strengthens an area that we've been lacking, which, like, I know we've got a lot of centre-backs, but in terms of the mentality, because the mentality in this team has been awful throughout, lacking leaders. And I think he comes in, he's a vocal voice and like a loud voice, a very good leader. His injury record as well is very good. For, like, you question marks about Johnny Evans with his injury records. Take that away, I never thought he was the best of leaders anyway. And you add his injury record to that, then like he's just not reliable. And I thought Johnny Evans was absolutely brilliant a few years ago, but age has caught up with him. And one thing I will say, and I've said this a few times with Johnny Evans, is like, as frustrating as his injury record is, what's even more frustrating is he'll have these spells injured, but time after time after time will then be available for Northern Ireland and then be injured for Leicester by the next time we play.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's a couple of things I want to put up on, because especially recently when he's come back into I think you were mentioning Northern Ireland's again. I'll park that, but I think you're right there. Another thing, when he came back into the team against Arsenal, when remember we were away, he was terrible. Last year, I want to say about January 2022. Do you remember we played against Aston Villa and we were just him and Soyuncu were at the back, and we were saying once Soyuncu comes back, once Evans comes back, defensively will shore up. We were even worse with him back in. He's played his role quite well, in my opinion. But that was when Maguire was out of the team. His leadership really stepped up then. For a couple of years, I think he was really good. But in the last couple of years, he's just the confidence and injuries have just not been there. It's not been good enough. So I'm not prepared to say, oh, he was never good for us. He was good for us. He was one of the reasons why Söyüncü was as good as he was when he got team of the season.
Yeah.
His calm collectedness was great then, but it's not been in the last couple of years. It's night and day.
It is. And I think the big thing with him, I think he's a big reason we got what we did for Harry Maguire as well. Because I think during that period, whoever played next to him looked a better player. And I stand by that. I've said it a few times, but it's just age has caught up with him, and it's going to happen. I think you mentioned it earlier. No time for sentimentality now. He's got to be moved on.
Yeah.
But
do you think it's an Enzo thing? Do you think it's related to Enzo? Because the conversations were very different before Enzo was appointed.
It was. It's very strange, though, the fact that when at the end of the season there was that tweet of the players released, but then in a sub tweet it was saying negotiations are ongoing with Johnny Evans. You would think if you're going to tweet something like that, then you have some. Then I don't want to say he's going to resign, but the intention is surely there to at least have some sort of contract offer or something. So, yeah, potentially so.
I think you're right, but yeah, it was just I think the club. I think we were at the time we were going, well, this is fine, certain players, but there would have been a couple of players that potentially would have wanted to stick around that would have left. But at the same time, we need to clear out. So, but it should have been the manager's job. Should have got the manager in early. But now we understand that Enzo was going to be one of the main targets, which is why they waited, won the Champions League, and then they got him in. But just don't mess about. I think now we're not messing about. Now we just need to get on with it because, I mean, with him at the back, Cody, I think he'll be a really good position to be in. I don't know where Ant's gone. But I think we're going to be in a strong position at the back. My thing is, I'm going to try and get Rob Tanner on and ask a couple of bits as well, because centre backs is a position that I want to see who starts. Another one that we were looking at pushing up was Ben Nelson. Now, if Connor Cody comes in, that changes everything massively because they might just send him back out on loan because I've got too many centre backs. The only one that I think is definitely going, and they should just pay off and bin him off, is Yannick Vestergaard. Year on his contract, get rid of him because you can't have that bad juju just stinking up our dressing room.
Yeah, the one thing I'd say with Ben Nelson, I think he is a promising youngster. Like, I feel like it's too soon for him in the Championship. Like, when you look at, he went out on loan and did half decent last year. Like, I feel like it's almost like throwing him to the Wolves, putting him in the Championship this year. But I don't know. Like, I know the point you're making, but let's move on because we're going to talk about Zach Orr in a while, the Arsenal youngster we've been linked to. But we've covered Connor Cody. The other one that looks like a done deal, Harry Winks. I know this one's split opinion. For me, I'm a fan of this move.
Me too. What it is, it's people on Twitter. That's it. People on Twitter. We've got to wake up. We're Championship. We're Championship. We should be looking at getting other Championship players. The fact that we're going to Tottenham and getting one of their players, I think if we are, that's thinking about the future, thinking about, right, we're going to get back into the Premier League, stabilize, and see. My only thing is, we can't be playing Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, Harry Winks, and Hamza Chowdhury. That lack of creativity is going to kill us.
Yeah, and I think the thing is with Harry Winks is that, like, whilst he doesn't have the most goals and assists from midfield, he's still very good on the ball and very good, like, got very good passing range, very good technical ability. But you're right, you do need that contribution of creativity from midfield. Dewsbury Hall gives you legs.
Yeah.
Can he create much? Last year, created next to nothing for the large periods, and I don't think Hamza Chowdhury, that's not really his job, is it, to create? He's more of a shield.
No, I think that's not his job. That's not his role. I think the most important thing for him is just to get on, do what he does best. But now he's been in the Championship, he knows what it's about. Part of it is keeping that calm head, and I really want to see what he's made of for Leicester City because I rate him. I think he's a good player, but he's never been really one of the people that's really rated that highly. I want to see what he can do for Leicester City because I want to see him lift the trophy. And part of that spine, him next to somebody like Winks, I think will be really good. Winks' experience, I think, is really slept on. He's not good. You can understand he's not good enough to make the top, the top six, the top team for Tottenham. But we're at that level where we're reaching. Did you honestly think we were going to get Harry Winks? I was like, he's not coming to us. And after his first link, I was like, nah, it's not happening because he's better than us at this moment in time.
Yeah, I agree. And if you look at it's the way that a lot of people turned their noses up last year at Josh Brownhill, went down with Burnley and was one of the best players in the Championship, or maybe not best players, but absolutely crucial to what they did last year. I think it'll be a similar kind of thing as that. But like Josh Brownhill was never going to be like a world beater of a player, but he did a very good job in the Championship. And when they go back up, I expect him to be like very competent again in the Premier League as he was previously.
Yeah, I'm with you, but the fact that we're getting these kind of players and they're wanting to come to us, they believe in the project. For me, that's so exciting. That's really, really, that's really exciting.
Yeah, not for me. Lack of physical presence, creativity, but I do understand he can dictate matches. For me, I think as I say, like with the way that I think Enzo is going to play. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that one, Swig. But with the way that Enzo is expected to play with a possession-based system, I think like you do need those kind of players. But then I think you've got to have that physicality around a player like Winks, which is where I think your Dewsbury Halls and your Chowdhury's do come into it. But then you look at your likes of Sammy Braybrook. Could he be moving on? But sorry, could he be hopefully not moving on? Could he be integrated into first team next year? But let's get on to the Harvey Barnes stuff, I think, because we've talked about the done deals. Let's talk about the rumours for Harvey Barnes. So just going to try and find this up on screen. There's been a fair few people talking about it today, including Rob Tanner and Rob Dorset. You're going to have to bear with me, guys. I do apologise. Where are we?
And also, it's something that we just to get that back, just to kind of get back to something that people have talked about that's gone quiet over the last couple of years. They know the league. They know get Premier League proven players. Ironically, we've got more Premier League proven players now in the Championship than we did over the last couple of years in the Premiership because Ryan Bertrand has not been good enough and Yannick Vestergaard's not been good enough.
I've never been a fan of Premier League proven. It's like you're either good enough or you're not.
I know, but that's something that was a narrative that was thrown around a lot when Wes Morgan was coming to when we were like Johnny Evans. Remember, there was people saying Premier League proven, Premier League proven. Now this is actual Premier League proven.
Yeah, so this is coming from Rob Dorset, but as I say, Rob Tanner was talking about it as well. A fair few people have been. Harvey Barnes will be the next player to be sold. Not really surprising if we're completely honest. Like I like Harvey Barnes, but the expression that I've used a few times, drain the swamp, get rid of all of the ones that don't want to be here. There's a big value with Harvey Barnes as well. I think a bigger value potentially than James Maddison in terms of facts, but he's in a more favourable position of not being in the last year of his contract. And I think we hold a lot more of the cards in this one. So I think if you can get similar 40 million for him as you did with Maddison. Yeah, I'll be happy with that.
Yeah, I think you make a great point. Again, I've shared something that I put out on Beyond the 90 because it's that. But I'm fine with this. I'm with you. But we already are known as the Moneyball team in the Championship. We're going to be down to Mark Albrighton. That is it. Ricardo Pereira is on 120k a week. He's injury prone as it is,
and he's not a winger.
He's not a winger, but he's the closest thing we've got to a winger. We will have one winger. We'll get on to Joe Piroe in a second because apparently he's going to play out wide. But remember that what happened when we sold Harry Maguire and we went and asked for Nathan Ake, Lewis Dunk was another one, James Tarkowski, and what did them three go? Oh, well, he's 50 mil. Oh, we're 40 mil. Oh, he's 60 mil. We know you got the money now. You know we got the cash up front. Give it over. I don't want that position happening. Yeah. And we haven't got the wingers in our under 23s that are really going to step up as well. So at this moment in time, I'm happy. I want to get somebody in Harvey Barnes' position before we sell him.
Yeah, I do agree with that. And as you say, we've seen it countless times before. It wasn't just with Harry Maguire. Even when we sold Ben Chilwell, I think we went around a fair few left backs before we came to Castagne, and they decide because everyone bumped their prices up because they knew that we had money. I think the thing with Harvey Barnes, I think, is he would absolutely smash the Championship, but he will want to be in the Premier League.
Where do you think he goes?
I've said for a while I think he goes to West Ham, which ironically that should have been our wing partnership a few years ago. Bowen one side, Barnes the other.
Yeah. Don't know why we didn't put a bid in for. I looked at Bowen and went, that makes sense. That makes sense. I'd love to have him at the club, and then they just didn't. And then did they get anybody else instead?
Don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember. But yeah, in terms of that, I'm happy. Again, drain the swamp, get another one out. But we need to make sure as well that we just need to make sure that we are getting out there and doing good, because this is my problem. The fact that we are, again, desperate need of wingers. And also, we're already looked for the Championship. You think Championship wingers are going to go, oh, you want our winger, do you? Right, well, we're going to up the price by double because we know you've got 40 million for Maddison, and also that I'm imagining the 40 million for Maddison is front loaded. I won't say all of it up front, but a huge chunk of it up front as well, so that we can invest. That's the reason why, as soon as Maddison was pretty much done, then Winks signed, then they're using that money to sign Winks and Cody.
I think the thing with, you've said it there, but if Barnes goes, you already have to have the replacements there. And Piroe's an interesting one. I'm not a fan of him as a winger, and I'll explain why when we get on to talking about him. As a striker, I think he's brilliant. But we need to have someone in place, whether that be Borges, is it the lad we've been linked to from Man City, loosely linked to, whoever it is.
I was going to say, is it actually the links aren't strong?
No, loosely linked. But whether it be him, whether it be whoever it needs to be in before Barnes goes.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And that's the thing. We just got to get a quality person in. Do you have anybody in mind?
I would like Borges or Borges, or however you pronounce him, from Man City, but it's one that feels like we're being linked to him. I can't help feeling, because Enzo Maresca's our coach. If he wasn't our coach, would we be being linked to him?
Which I'm totally fine with, by the way. I think I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah, I agree, but it just feels like, in terms of the fact that we have been linked to him, it feels like it's an easy story for outlets to do. It's like every transfer window when Brendan Rodgers came in, we were linked to Adam Lallana, Coutinho.
Midfielder as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it feels like that sort of ilk of transfer story where it's just 2 + 2 equals 5.
Yeah, no, I get you. So it makes sense, and potentially there is the advantage of getting him. We need to look and find another. Do you know what we need to find? We need to go and look for another Michael Elise or Eberechi Eze. Yeah. That's who we really need. I'm not saying we need to go and get them. Obviously, they won't come to us, but we need to find that ilk of player, a young player, up and coming, kind of doing well in the Championship, got a lot of potential to drive into the Premier League and take it to another level. That's where we need to be.
Yeah, 100%. And as much as I love the signings of Connor Cody and Harry Winks, and they both bring experience and that side of things, which I think is important. I can't help feeling I'd like to see some youngsters as well if rebuilding.
And I think with Maresca we'll get that, but we need to make sure that leadership team. Because bearing in mind of that leadership, who the leadership team was? Vardy, Schmeichel, obviously not Schmeichel last year. Maddison, Tielemans,
Evans.
Out of all of them, Vardy's the only one remaining over the last couple of years. So that needs replacing with Cody. Winks will be another one. Who's going to be another one? Keenan Dewsbury Hall will kind of be there because he's like an advanced player now.
I don't see Dewsbury Hall as a leader. I got fed up with this narrative last year because he's a local lad, but he's a future captain. Like, yeah, he might go on to be, but just because he's a local lad doesn't mean he will be. But let's get into the live chat quickly. If you are watching on Beyond the 90, make sure to obviously like that stream. If you're watching on my channel, make sure to like. But if you guys could go on to whichever stream you're not watching on, like, and then hop back to the other one, that would be great. Help both channels out. But we've got 55 people watching, so do get the likes up, comment, subscribe. Let's see, Max Aaron and Gilles, who says no. I don't think fullbacks is an area where you really need to be pushing that too hard, to be honest. I think we're sorted for fullbacks at the moment, but it depends on the movements of your likes of Ricardo Pereira. I think Castagnier is practically already out the door, but you've got
another winner to go to Juventus from Leicester City.
Yeah, 100%. But you've got James Justin, you've got Luke Thomas, you've got Christensen. Maybe sign one more, but I don't think like it's a priority.
Yeah, defensive. If we sign Cody, I think, and then another young centre back, and we get Vestergaard gone, I think that's our defence. And then it's just all down to that right hand side. I can't see James Justin want to stick around, and I can't see. It's a weird one because both of them are so injury prone, but both of them are better than the Championship.
Yeah, I think Ricardo Pereira is the one that I could see going maybe somewhere like back to Portugal or sort of
Spain.
a Spanish kind of club. But with James Justin, I can't help feeling the fact that he's been in the England squad a few times. There's surely got to be some suitors for him.
Yeah, there would be, but also his injury record, people won't want to go near him. And bearing in mind, he's probably not on a little amount of money. He's on a decent amount of money at the moment. So it's not like you can just go, oh, yeah, we'll put him on loan and give. And no Premiership team is going to want to loan somebody from the Championship. If we did that, I'd be like, what the hell are you doing? Buy him or no?
Yeah, 100%. Wonder how much Ismail Assar. Surprised he's still at Watford. Good player, might be achievable. Didn't they want something like 25 million in January or something like that when he was linked to Liverpool? So I feel like that boat sailed for us a few years ago.
And he's not as highly rated. And also, if he was that highly rated, he would have come back to the Prem. If he was genuinely that good as what he was. And he was a great player. But just now,
it's just sort of stagnated, hasn't it, for him, really? And it's like you can do one season in the Championship and absolutely smash it and get, if you don't get back up with Watford, you get your transfer. The fact is this going to be his third season in a row in the Championship now?
With the same team that finished, mid-table?
There's got to be a reason why he hasn't been picked up. Can Pereira cut in the Championship? Probably, but I think he's pretty much nailed on to go back to Italy, surely. Like
Torino are just being tight. They're arguing over like 1 or 2 million.
To be fair, their finances are absolutely like. I know we moan about it's the Italian league. It's
a penny pinch.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And my thing is with Pereira, I think he's a half decent player. I never think he's as good as he's been made out to be by our fan base. Would do very well in the Championship. He doesn't get anywhere close to the Belgian team if he's playing second tier football.
Yeah, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. But I don't think. Yeah, I'm with you. It's just it's who else now? It's who else comes in their place. But we need to get people. Just what it is. It's just waiting for the Maddison to go, and as soon as Maddison goes, right, we can get these players signed up and done. It's just waiting for the other players to leave so we can bring some in. Because Harry Winks and Connor Cody kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Sorry, Harry Winks did. Connor Cody less so.
Well, in a way, Harry Winks hasn't, because of the fact we've talked that he's been linked to us for about 3 years as a player that we've been interested in. But the fact of us actually like going out and really advancing and going to get him, that's come out of nowhere. Connor Cody is one that we've talked about for a while. I don't know. Connor Cody.
I like Connor Cody. I think he's going to be a great player for us. But yeah, in terms of that, I'm really happy. And compose yourself. Yeah, for me, it's the spine of it that I'm really interested in playing, because Vardy up top, strong. The cam is that main position, that needs to be filled. And then I'm confident all the way down. I don't know about Zach Steffens. He was good. If you remember him in the Charity Shield, I thought he played really well.
He didn't. To be honest, I'm not too bothered what Man City fans say about him. I'm more interested what Middlesbrough fans say about him, who had him on loan and saw him play for a whole season. And we'll get on to the Zach Steffen links. But all the Middlesbrough fans that I've talked to, and I say all as if I've talked to loads, but the ones I've talked to seem to think he's a very good keeper for the level, and he is a different type of keeper to what we've had.
Yeah, he's obviously a signing that Maresca wants because he plays out from the back. It's not something that Iverson's going to do. Iverson's a great keeper in terms of shot stopper, but he's not going to play the way Maresca plays, which might mean that he has to move on. But it might, for me, I've always said I don't understand why we have three keepers. No. I just, especially not now in the financial situation. Just recruit somebody from the under-23s, get Salarcic back and play for and then he can play for the under. Then he can sit on the bench for a little bit, so he's doing both because you don't need three keepers. He gets trained up in the squad, but also you're getting he's just Smithy. Like Smithy's, what's he done? And I don't dislike the guy, but we want a couple of keepers to move on. If we get Steffen in, then promote Smithies a second. That's what I'd do.
Yeah, the problem we've got with a few of the keepers, and this is it from TalkSport, so take it with a pinch of salt, but you see so many people talking about it, and when there's that many like credible outlets talking about it, there's no smoke without fire. And I do, as I say, TalkSport's not the best, but there are other outlets also talking about it. But with the ideal situation for me, I like the thought of Zach Steffen coming in. I was convinced Iverson would be our keeper if we got relegated, but if Enzo Maresca sees it that important to bring in a new goalkeeper because of the style of play that you want, then like he's got to be backed with it. What I've said for a while is you can't say, "Oh, we've got to back a manager" until he makes a decision I don't like. If you're going to get behind him, you've got to give him every player that he wants in particularly in that first window.
Yeah, and we've got to make sure that he's getting the player he wants. They've obviously given him the time. They obviously like his vision. They need to now execute what he wants to do. And let's get behind him. And do you know what? This is gonna surprise people. I think he's gonna suck for periods of time. Not immediately, just like Arteta. Remember when he sucked and we was going, Ten Hag sucked. And I don't blame him. He just took a while to get everything right. And I think that's the position we're in. I don't blame if it goes wrong, I'm still behind him. I look at Ten Hag. I don't know if Xavi Alonso had another bad spell, but I'm just looking for ones that I've had. Like it just went horribly wrong for a bit.
The thing is, I'm not going to categorically say like no matter what, like I'm going to fully be behind him. If we're sat bottom of the championship on Christmas Day, then I think you sort of like the goalpost move slightly, but he does need to be given time to implement his style of play, his philosophy, and everything he's trying to do. Do you remember that first year that Pep Guardiola went to Man City? Like,
oh yeah, it was crap.
Like
Lookman. That's the first time I saw him. 4-0 they won against Man City.
Yeah, obviously by their own standards, I still think they got top four, but it's all relative to each club. But then you look at what they've gone on to do: win 5 out of the 6 Premier Leagues, is it? They've won pretty much every trophy there is to be won. But that first season, it takes time. And I'm not going to sit here and say Enzo Maresca is going to be Pep Guardiola. Far from it. But the point is to integrate such a different style of play, which is what I'm expecting to happen, won't happen overnight.
Ten Hag. It's his first year this year, isn't it? They got 4-0 to Brentford. They got 7-0. They lost to Liverpool. There was a lot of change that was needed in that squad. And yes, they spent some money, and Ten Hag's done well. In hindsight, we're looking back at it, but at the time, it's going to suck. It's going to really suck as we're in this transition period. And that's okay because we have to be in this for the long haul because the players need to understand what Maresca needs and how he needs to play. And if they're not with it, then you've got to move on.
100%. Let's get on to the final bit of news for today. And this is one that I think a fair fair few people have been asking about. Before we do that, like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to keep sounding like a broken record, but it does help out massively. So this is coming from John Percy and from, I don't even know how to pronounce the guy's name, but he's one of the biggest Dutch journalists who's apparently very credible and very reliable. But either way, we know how reliable John Percy is. So is that up on the screen, mate?
It's not.
How about now?
It's now.
There we go. So according to reports from John Percy and
Rick Elfrink,
nailed it exactly how I was going to say it, mate. Leicester City have made an offer for Joel Piroe from Swansea City. For me, there was a bit earlier on about him potentially being a Barnes replacement. I believe that came from Rob Tanner. For me, as a striker, I really like him. As a winger, it worries me. It feels like Iosi Perez all over again, where we brought a player who's decent in one position and we're going to try and shoe on him into something that he can do but doesn't really suit him.
Yeah. And we need the wingers is what we desperately need. And another striker, unless Iheanacho and Daka leaves, then we need somebody. So we need a player that can, would be perfect. Well, we're not going to get him. Charles de Castellaire. Play up strike, can play left wing, right wing, plays cam. That's literally who we need. I'm not saying we're going to get him, especially in the Championship, but that kind of player, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, or even Elias Chair, if you're going to look more realistically, of QPR, who can play as that 10, he can play on either wing.
That's gone quiet, though. Because, before, like with Victor Christensen, there was constant links in January, constantly. That went up, morning, mate, evening, and then it kind of went down and just kind of like, it disappeared. With Christensen, it's constantly there. Chair hasn't been mentioned.
No, it was for one story, I think it was from Football Insider, so it was probably BS anyway. But
it might have been real. My only thing is, sorry to interrupt, when Enzo got the job, then it changed.
Yeah.
So maybe he doesn't fit the Enzo profile.
Yeah, and that's similar to Johnny Evans, wasn't it? Like that very much seemed like the theme of that changed when Enzo came in. Are you going Northampton away? I am, Neil. I believe you're not, are you?
I have booked to Edinburgh, so I'm going to go see Doug instead. So yeah, otherwise I would have gone, but I'm not in the country.
Yeah, fair enough. You make it sound, I love it when you say not in the country, makes it sound like you're going off somewhere exotic and exciting, going up to Scotland.
I've never been to Edinburgh. I'm looking forward to it.
No, Edinburgh's a good weekend, good night out, but it's just the way you've said it, as if
not in the country,
going somewhere exotic.
Yeah.
Piroe, I don't think we'll get him a lot of competition from Prem clubs for this player. It's not surprising, and as I say, like his goal scoring record in the Championship speaks for itself. I didn't realise until doing research for this video, he's only 23 years old as well. And I know it's going to sound like a strange comparison, but the way he strikes a ball reminds me so much of Harry Kane, of like that short backlift when he goes to take a shot, that he can generate so much power and is so accurate from like some strange, I don't want to say strange situations, but some difficult angles, makes look very easy.
I've not seen too much of him, but I like him. I think it's the kind of player I'm like, yeah, I quite like quite like him as well. So yeah, I think we'll have to see. But at the moment, I'm just thinking that again. I am going to do it, but I'm not going to do it. How does Pep Guardiola doesn't play with a 10, does he?
No, KDB's an advanced 8.
Who do you think that will be then? Wings.
No, but the thing is, I don't think we're going to play that sort of the same formation as Pep. I think it will be slightly like different when you look at what Enzo Maresca did in the Man City youth squad. So that was more like, what was it, 3-5-2 and 4-2-3-1, if I remember Tactica's thread correctly.
I'm going to get it up now. I'm already on it. Where's it gone? Yeah, I can get that. Get the tweet up now. Marescaology. Tactica loves him. which I'm a really big fan of. So let me see if I can get it for you. The one that he played at the moment. It's kind of like so again, that was earlier on.
Is that up on screen now?
Yeah. So let's say 4-3-3, but then we've got left wing, right wing, Chair Daka, probably Chowdhury, Fasuta, Justin Christensen. So there's loads of different ones, but 4-3-3 or 3-4-2 ones, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, if anybody, I'll drop this in the comments because this is a really good thread, and I really recommend that everybody goes and checks it out as well. So I'll drop that in the comments.
It's not just it's not just this thread though from him. I'd recommend.
It's just phenomenal.
Just in general. After every game though, I'm going to pin this as a comment. Can I pin that? And then you can also, it makes it easier to subscribe to Neil. If I've got any more mods in, if you guys could pin that to the chat, it would be massively appreciated because it is a very, very good. Very page.
I don't want to just take all of his content and go like, because I reacted to some of it when I did the Maresca appointment. I don't want to just take all of it and just go and then make you not see it. You know, when you like reaction videos where they just go and they're like, you're just watching a thing and they go, oh, cool. Ah, that's funny. And that's their whole reaction. They watched it, ruined the whole video. Like, they don't give credit at all. So go have a look at him. Go give him a follow. Really, really quality. And I don't think he minds me telling you, but he works professionally as an analyst, as in analytics and football analysis as well. So phenomenal guy. Like, just knows his stuff.
Yeah, 100%. I think we've just about covered everything.
Zach Orr?
We haven't covered everything. Zach Orr, and I've just seen a comment. Vardy turning around down and move to Saudi Arabia.
Yep. Yeah, it's nice, but is it too surprising? Probably not. Do you think Vardy will go to Saudi Arabia?
No.
No ham sandwiches over there.
I think that'll be the least of his problems of what's banned over there. But my thing is, I've said for a while, I don't think Vardy's going to have as much as to play for this season in terms of minutes as a lot of people do. I do think he'll be a bit of a bit part player. I think his minutes will be limited purely because of his age and the nature of the championship. You can't expect him to play 2 games a week, week after week after week. I think he'll be saved for the bigger moments and the bigger games.
Do you think, again, I hate to bring it back, but you know how Aguero was when his latter stages of his career?
Yeah, saved for those big moments and those big games.
Again, not just go, oh, he's like, but that's the first thing I went to. It was like, icon, definitely can do something, but we're going to get another lad on to do all the legwork. And from what we understand, like, of the 3 strikes, it probably will be Iheanacho that's the most likely to move on.
Yeah. I mean, Dak has also been linked with a move away as well, hasn't he? So
I know, but I've got a feeling that Daka's up for it. I don't know why, but maybe he wants to go, but that's fine. But there's some, like, Christensen's message and Daka's message was like, yeah, we're in this. It was do you know what I mean? Just gut feeling.
Madison's will stick together.
Yeah, but we knew that was mate, we had Rob Tanner on the show. We knew he was going. We genuinely knew he was on the move from what? January. Yeah, when he said Madison's going. And there's this clip, you can find out the interview with Rob Tanner that we did. He's going.
Yeah, true, I suppose. But yeah, Vardy turning down a move to Saudi Arabia, whilst he's not going to get the same payday at Leicester as he would in Saudi Arabia, he's still not going to be getting, he's not going to be short of a few quid. But like, as you say, I feel like that's a little bit of a non-story. It doesn't interest me that much just because, like, you almost expect him to be loyal, which I don't want to take it for granted. But like, when he turned down Arsenal when he was in their prime, like some of the moves he has rejected to stay loyal to Leicester, he's as loyal comes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I wanted to see who's out of contract in 2024 because a few of them, like people have mentioned Pratt and things like that as well, but who else is going to be available? Who else is expiring? Because a lot of them need to be moved on if possible.
Yeah.
So let's have a look. So it is James Matt gone. Wilfred Ndidi, Kelechi Iheanacho, Luke Thomas, Dennis Pratt, Hamza Chowdhury, Yannick Vestergaard, Mark Albrighton, Alex Smithies, and Jamie Vardy.
Yeah.
Not asked. Most of them.
There's a fair few that you're just thinking it's like, I can't wait to see them never play for the club again, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Like obviously there's ones there that you do want to see staying, but your likes of Madison's gone, and Ndidi.
Let's get rid of Madison because we know he's off.
And Ndidi wouldn't be bothered if he never plays for the club again. Iheanacho, I'd like to stay. Luke Thomas, I'm a bit either way, whatever with him really. Dennis Pratt, he's as good. I think he's gone. Hamza Chowdhury, I think this is a huge season for him. Everyone's always said he's a decent Championship midfielder. Like he did half decent at Watford this year. I think this season for Hamza Chowdhury personally will probably be the biggest season of his career.
Oh, that's a big statement. Yeah, I agree.
Because I don't think there's going to be any other season for us where he will be a mainstay in the team. He's got a possibility, and there's a realistic chance that he could become that this season.
And we haven't got so I don't think Wilfred Ndidi. So that means we're down to one. Oh, Samore.
I hadn't even thought Samore completely.
Yeah, I completely felt like he could be.
I think he goes back to France.
I think so. He was very close to joining. It makes no sense to him not to go back now. Unless Maresca, I keep getting Man City references. Yaya Toure.
I'm not hearing Samore to Yaya Toure comparisons after the season he's just had. But
after the season, all of them have had.
Yeah. And I think we've said it about Samore, and it's like there's only so many times you can say the same thing. Samore is there's a huge amount of talent there, just not a lot of consistency. I do think with Samore, though, like having the unsettled back four behind him didn't help him. But you just want to see a little bit more from him. You see moments of brilliance driving the ball forwards, like finding a pass. It's just far too irregular.
KDH, Samore, and Hamza Chowdhury midfield. Leicester boys were on a bender. You remember they played against that? Where was it? It was 4-2. That was a phenomenal performance. The 1-0 against Liverpool. We played that at 3 in midfield, and all three. No, yeah, it was Hamza Chowdhury in the middle.
Yeah,
them 3 did really well.
Yeah, but I think that's a huge difference playing against Liverpool, where you're parked on the edge of your own box and you don't have the ball. You're not expected to go and break teams down, compared to when you're playing Liverpool, counter-attacking, just living off scraps.
Same as Plymouth Argyle away, mate.
Same thing, isn't it, really? It's same thing. But
some people have said Hamza Chowdhury, Southampton. He's been linked for ages, hasn't he? Because there was that weird triad, wasn't it? It was somebody to Southampton. Southampton, we were going to get somebody from Newcastle, and Newcastle were going to give somebody to us. It was a weird triad of the 3, wasn't it?
Again today, though, hasn't he?
But he's just signed a year deal.
Yeah. Well, the club activated an extension rather than him signing it. But the thing is, normally you wouldn't think anything of it, but the fact it's coming from, I think it came from John Percy, makes you think. So Southampton are looking at a deal for Leicester City midfielder Hamza Chowdhury. Regardless of how much or how little you rate him, for me, I'd flat out not sell it to them just because they're going to be our rivals pushing for promotion. And you don't want to strengthen them in any way.
What would be the benefit? No. What would genuinely be the benefit of us selling a Hamza Chowdhury to Southampton? No benefit whatsoever to us, or it benefits them because they weaken us, and they know that he's coming back into the team with something to prove.
Yeah.
The club aren't that stupid. They have been stupid, but they're not that stupid.
I hope.
We had the same reaction there.
But Yeah, I do agree with everything you just said there, but let's just talk about Zakor just to finish. And I don't think I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but wrong tab. Bear with me 2 seconds, guys.
I can get the player profile up from Arsenal if you like.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So again, it's not very much, and obviously they're going to be biased as hell. But he joined Arsenal again in 2012, signed pro contract. So that's for some reason it's really dark. I don't know why. Centre back can also play in central defence, I think it says, or centre defensive midfield. So again, but also again, a couple of things. He's got leadership. He's a young player, but an impressive passing range. Again, a couple of like standout traits. That sounds like a Maresca kind of signing.
It does, and something that sorry to cut you off. Something that Rory Talks Football, who's an Arsenal fan, and he's an Arsenal fan that follows the under-23s as well, said this was his thoughts on him. Where are we?
I think you tweeted this out a few days ago, right?
Yeah. Where is it? Rory Talks Football. So he's a good player, tall, athletic, comfortable on the ball, played holding midfielder a few times. Path to our senior team at centre back is very difficult now. It's not surprising to see let him go. So yeah, as you say, the path there to their first team as a centre backs, there's about 5-6 players there, but before you even get a look in, so it's not surprising that he's not wanting to hang about at Arsenal, and Arsenal aren't wanting to keep him. But like all of those characteristics sound so good and so promising for a young centre back. But it's like my thing is, as I said, I want us to sign some young players as well as the experienced heads in this rebuild. But the only thing that I worry about with this one is it sounds everything you want from a centre back, but it almost sounds, when you go to a second-hand car dealership, the salesman's going to sell you everything you want to hear.
Yeah, I was going to say, take it with a pinch of salt because it is from Arsenal. Imagine the kind of things they're saying about Yannick Vestergaard on Leicester City site, for example. But coming from somebody that watches him, again, obviously he's good. And also, I think it depends heavily on how much time is he going to play. That depends on who's going to be here. So we know Connor Cody. So the 3 centre-backs we know is going to be, Connor Cody's going to be here. Harry Souttar's pretty much going to be the second one. Then after that, Fast,
maybe.
But I think I was listening to Jordan Blackwell, and he was saying that the Belgian coach said the fact that he's in the Championship isn't going to affect him as much in his national team space.
No, I think it was Spears' inability to defend was probably more of a concern. But saying that, it's tongue-in-cheek comment. I do think he's better than he's sort of given credit for. I think that those 2 own goals against Liverpool, once that happened, his reputation was completely dented. And then he did keep making sloppy individual mistakes, but who didn't in our team?
Exactly. So I'm not prepared to judge him after. That's why I'm kind of. But you say that, but you can also say, but you can't say that. But for me, that's the same way that I see KEB. Next season is how you judge them.
Yeah. The thing is with Dewsbury Hall, though, I think with him in the Championship, I think he is a good Championship level player. But it's like, it's not just been this year with him. Like, his positives are there to see. Like, he offers energy, work rate, and like will get about the pitch. On the ball, does he offer enough? I don't think he does for the Premier League, but for the Championship, I do.
Fair enough. Would you say Demarai Gray back?
No.
Fair. I don't know why I thought that.
Straight to the point. No, I would not. Right. And actually, I was probably one of the people who I was one of the people when he was at Leicester that sort of thought there was something there and that probably had a lot more patience with him than most did. But I just think now, for a few reasons. He hasn't developed at all at Everton, and Everton fans aren't too asked for it. He's linked with a move away. And
Saudi Arabia.
25 million. If you're Everton, you're like,
Oh, yeah.
no,
Do you want Yannick Vestergaard?
they were linked to Ndidi, weren't they, as well? So
yeah, both of them, 50 mil. Special offer.
You would? Not for me, but I think for what you could pay for Demarai Gray, you could get an up-and-coming hungry winger who will work harder, have a higher ceiling of potential as well.
Yeah. No, I don't know why I quite said it, but for some reason I was like, not that I wanted him, but I was like, I don't think it would come back anyway.
No, I don't think so. But anyway, I think we have now covered absolutely everything.
We forgot the title. Joe Piroe.
Have we not talked about Joe Piroe?
Yeah, I think we just naturally went on to wingers instead.
I was going to say, I'm convinced we talked about him, but yeah, Joe Piroe. Let's cover him one more time, just in case. But I think good striker. Worries me that we're being linked to him as a winger, though. It gives me big Iosi Perez vibes, and I don't like. Not saying that he's like a bad player, because I know like Perez has got that reputation of being an awful player for us. But Iosi Perez as a second striker, when he was at Newcastle, decent player. Played on him on the right wing, like because supposedly he could play anywhere across the front line. He couldn't, and I get that sort of vibe from this.
Yeah, and with him at the moment, I'm just looking at he can't play second striker.
Mm-hmm.
That's the position he's more likely to play.
I don't know. If he comes in and is going to be our striker, I'm all for it, and I think he's a very good player. If he's going to be pushed out either as a second striker or as a left or right winger, I just think it's a bit of a waste.
Fair. And he's not exactly like great for assists. He's good for striking. That's it. Putting the ball in the back of the net, which you need in a team you genuinely need. But yeah,
his goal scoring record speaks for itself, and he's a huge asset for anyone who's going to get him. But I just don't see us signing him unless both Daka and Iheanacho move on.
Yeah, and then he would be our main striker with Thingy coming off the bench ball.
Yeah, probably. But anyway, guys, we are going to wrap it up this time. Thank you so much to everyone who has been watching. Like, comment, subscribe, check out Beyond the 90 and all of that good stuff. But I will see you guys in the next one.